Welcome back.
Hi!
Hi.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh.
I don't believe you.
Everything is happening the way I wanted it to. And,
Yeah. No. This is the hyper shit. This is like that entire scene. I actually love that scene, like reading that. Them like, oh, let's like go to the treasure hunt, have a great time. I'm like, they're running corpses and the fridge and the cake. Fucking a good fridge. This is great.
Here's the thing. It's like, not to say that this would work at all, but the amount of fun that I had in Arc 3, 4, 5, and 6 compared to the fun I had in Arc 1 and 2 is completely different scales. Like,
Fair enough.
It just keeps getting better and better, and I'm having a blast.
I'm glad.
I'm having a blast.
Are you saying that Arc 6 is the best arc so far, objectively?
Hands down.
Yay!
It could ruin itself. It has so much room to ruin itself.
Well, this is the thing. We're not even like halfway through the friggin' arc, I don't think.
Yeah.
This is great.
The one thing I will say is that I don't think Arc 6 would work as anywhere as well as it does without the previous 5 arcs.
I agree.
So, like, it's not like I'm saying, just get rid of 1 and 2, they're rubbish. I still had a lot of fun with them, but they were, like, so much more clunky than this.
I mean, you can get rid of Arc 2 if you really want to, but keep Arc 1.
How dare you? Arc 2's a national treasure. To which nation, I'm not sure.
Not Japan?
Not Japan.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, we've kind of cut, I want to say, I love that we've just jumped right back to the like, dialogue at the start of the story with that, like, jump forward in time. And we're not watching the kids, like, walk into the trash heap and find Rena and be like, what the fuck are you doing here? It looks like we've just jumped right back to where we were, which is really cool. Go Ryukishi, go, skipping stuff that is unnecessary.
One of the books that we're reading right now on Death of the Reader.
Which one?
Too Many Cooks.
Oh yeah, good book.
I was kind of shell shocked by that book because it rarely sets the scene. It just drops you in the middle of them.
It's very strange. Yeah.
And that's such a change of pace from what I'm used to with murder mysteries.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love when we get thrown into a scene and the scene establishes using the scene where, when, and why we are there.
This arc has done a really good job, like, of using, like, I don't know if it's cinematic language is the right term. I think it might be. How we start off with a flash forward. Like, that's typical of, like, a heist movie or, like, lots of thriller movies where they're like, this is where everything's going wrong, or where, like, everything's coming to a point. Now let's talk about, I bet you're wondering how I got here, and then we go back and then we cut forward. I think that Ryukishi is doing a really good job of, like, pacing out this reveal here. Because the previous scene that we had, of course, we are reading with the foreknowledge that this is where we have to end up. It's great. I love it.
And I mean, one of the other things was that, like, supposedly the anime did a lot more of that style of thing, where it had flash forwards and jump us around the timer just a little bit. Yeah. Particularly with supposedly the opening of Arc 2.
Yeah,
Still haven't seen it. Anyway.
We'll talk about that when we see it. I'm pretty sure I made a comment about this in the last arc, but yeah.
Point being, though, that I do think that it's not quite in media res, because in media res typically means you jumping into the complication.
No.
I'm sure there's another word for it, but I'm totally blanking.
This is more like we're jumping into the climax more than... You don't think so? The climax of this, like, arc of the story, you don't think so? No? You disagree?
No, because, like, I mean, first of all, this is like halfway through the arc.
No. I mean, like, of this first half. It's like the midpoint. Like, this is where tension is at the highest. I don't know if climax is the right word for that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, but it's more like in media res implies jumping in like the middle of a moment, whereas right here we're jumping in at, like, you know, a high point in tension of the story. I don't disagree with you there. Okay. I just wouldn't necessarily call this like a climax, because the climax is, I think, what's going to come from where we've jumped in.
Sure. That's fine. That's fine.
It's a, like, thin difference, but
you're going to pick it because that's your job.
Well, yeah, because I like getting my terminology right or getting it wrong and then being bullied in the comments.
You sound like you're the kind of person who likes train puzzles.
I do like train puzzles.
God
particularly when Nero Wolfe is on them and complaining about how awful trains are.
He is the best. He does love and hate it. Oh, it's so good. That, like, the end point of that is a train ride, and, like, it's so good. It's so well booked.
Link in the description to our discussion on Too Many Cooks.
It's excellent.
Also, this text is white, which means that everyone's arrived.
Yeah, that's it. We've just jumped in. Keiichi's here, Rena's here, assumably everyone else is still sitting on the bonnets of car hoods. I don't remember what everyone else was doing. I don't remember that Mion was there because she squeak the top of the hood. And yeah, we're going to see how this escalates, I suppose. Thoughts about what's about to go down? What's the likelihood that Rena just kills everyone here?
I mean, that would be great. I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not.
I don't think there's any reason for her to. Unless she was like, yo, I put my family in front of everyone else. You know.
Now we need to figure out who's talking, of course.
This is the problem, isn't it? God.
Rena's sprite's on screen.
And Keiichi's our perspective.
And Keiichi's our perspective.
I want to say it's Rena, like, trailing off, because she's like... What are you doing? Are you going to write something down? This is who you think?
No, we're gonna flip a kiwi bird, okay?
Why are you flipping
I have a model kiwi bird.
Okay.
If the fern is pointing right, it's Rena. If the fern is pointing left, it's Keiichi.
Okay, well,
Ready?
I want to say for the record, I think it's Rena, but we'll find out.
Okay.
Flip it anyway. Let's see where it lands. Which way did it land?
It's pointing left.
Okay.
It's Keiichi.
It's Keiichi. All right, take the line. If you're wrong, then Ryukishi gets 10 points.
And if we're right...
Then we get, I'm going to say 5 points.
This is stacked against us.
Yeah. We live life on the edge. That's what we do.
All right.
Sorry, we'll get more points later.
That's it. Rena finished making her confession. There was no applause or curtain call, but there were 10 points.
There were 10 points.
It was a quiet and lonely stage that Rena performed on alone. I think I'd forgotten to blink since her confession started. Everybody else seemed to be feeling the same way.
I won points in my heart, guys. That's the main thing.
I mean, you could have stopped me.
I could have, but you
stopped me.
You were like, I'm going to do this bit. And I was like, all right, here we go. Time to spell our doom.
It's no wonder we're losing.
I know.
We're probably not losing, actually. Now that
I don't know. I
the
don't
points
remember. How are we doing at the current point in time in the
We're
editing?
very close, and I don't
Okay.
recall Ryukishi getting any big steals.
Okay, we got to give him one then. Maybe that was it. Maybe that 10 points will push him ahead. We'll see.
Editor Felix, can you time travel and tell us what the score is?
Thank
No?
you.
Okay.
Oh.
Rena looked at us like she was a teacher waiting for questions from her students. We noticed she was imitating what Chie-sensei does at the end of her class, and we all smiled bitterly.
God damn this. I mean, I went to Higurashi earlier to find a place to bury these bags. It was hard to pick a place because I wanted to make sure that nobody would ever find them. I even thought about burying them in my backyard because it might be the safest, but after I thought about it, I knew that wouldn't work. My father might start planting vegetables one day, and he might find them. So it's better that I bury them somewhere in the mountains. Plus, I don't ever want to let her near my father, even though she's dead. Wow, it's stone cold! She doesn't like Rena very much. Doesn't like Rena very much. At all.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I did something very bad. Rena's plan was going smoothly. If I'd only hunted for the mahjong tiles instead of insisting on doing something else, this wouldn't have happened. When I looked at the others, they all seemed to be regretting their actions too. If Mion hadn't come up with the idea to play at the garbage dump, if Sadako hadn't found the broken refrigerator, if Rika-chan had convinced us not to go, Rena could have had a few more days and she would have gotten rid of those trash bags. They never would have been found. Then what would have happened next?
A victimless crime.
Nothing. Everything would have remained the same. We would have kept having happy and peaceful days. Rena had been through a hard time, but she'd been forcing her face in a smile for us. The fake smile was supposed to become a real smile one day. None of us was supposed to notice that Rena was going through a hard time. After a while, Rena was supposed to be able to forget the bitter memory of killing these two, and she was supposed to live as if nothing had happened. But now all of her efforts, all her courage had been ruined.
I know killing people is a bad thing to do. I didn't want to do this, and I don't want to do it again in the future. But I believe this was the best solution, and I also believe I didn't do anything wrong. I just applied my utmost efforts when God presented me with the equal opportunity to regain my happy, peaceful life. Saying we should accept, suffer, and live an immaterial life without desires is nothing more than bitter words from those who have plenty. Makes sense to me? Nobody can belittle my efforts. Rather, they should praise me for what I did. They should celebrate for me. Rena Ryugu fought for her own fate, and she won.
I don't know why I did it, but I interrupted her. I shouldn't have, but I thought I needed to tell her this, so I did. But Rena, why didn't you tell us?
What do you mean?
We're friends, aren't we? Friends are always on your side without exception, no matter what. I thought friends were like family. If you told us about it, we could have helped you. Then you wouldn't have had to get your hands dirty. What Rena told us made me sad. I couldn't help myself from saying that to her. Rena told us straight that she did the best she could. She told us that right to our faces. That's the same as saying that she didn't need us in order to do the best she could.
Kei-chan, you can say that now, but...
Wait, let me finish. I believe that friends are there to share both happiness and hardship. If you came to talk to us, I believe we could have done something different and we could have led you to a better future.
A better future? There's no better future than what I have right now. This is the best possible future.
It's a lie. My shout seemed to scare her a little. I knew that Rena didn't believe that this was the best possible future, she just didn't have any other choice. If she'd had other choices, she definitely wouldn't have chosen this one. I know you don't believe that because you're crying.
What? Who's crying? Me? I'm not crying.
Yes, you are. You've been crying the whole time. Haven't you noticed it? In fact, I didn't see any tears in her eyes or on her face at all, but that didn't mean she wasn't crying. Rena was crying. She was crying because she was driven into a corner after all the hard work she did to become happy. Her tears looked so sad. Anyone who couldn't see those tears wasn't really thinking about her.
I'm not crying. I won't cry. I did the right thing. I made the right choice. There's no reason for me to cry. That's ridiculous. I have no idea what you're talking about. Keiichi.
Keiichi? I know it. You're crying right now. And I stopped laughing all of a sudden, and she spoke with a cold expression on her face.
Okay. Let's say I did what you just told me. I told you all about my father and that woman. Then what?
Well,
Then what?
Rena had never talked to me like this before, as if she was mocking my ignorance, and that made me shut my mouth.
You don't know what happened last year.
Last year?
Yeah, last year. It happened in June of 1982. There was someone who had no choice but to kill a person to free himself from his misfortune.
Sadako gasped.
Keiichi-kun, I don't think you know much about him. About Sashi Hojo-kun.
Is this where Shion makes her, like, Dragon Ball Z style entrance to the
I don't
scene?
think so, but it'd be pretty great if that did happen. Did somebody say Satoshi? My Satoshi senses are tingling.
I know that he's Sadako's older brother. He's been missing, but people say he's transferred. There's a rumor that he killed his aunt for Sadako's sake. Therefore, it's been taboo to talk about Satoshi in my class, actually. In all of Hinamizawa.
Especially in front of Shion. Satoshi-kun was under the same conditions as I was. He just wanted to have happy and peaceful days. He just wanted to live peacefully and quietly with his sister. You've heard about what kind of person Sadako-chan's aunt was, haven't you?
If what I've heard is true, then this is what happened. After Sadako lost her parents, her uncle and her aunt got custody of her and her brother, but they were miserable people. Her aunt was especially cruel to Sadako. Satoshi was the kind of guy who wouldn't even hurt a fly, but his aunt probably was the only one whom he didn't have a problem killing. That's how terrible a person she was.
Everybody in Hinamizawa knew about the trouble the Hojo family had. Everybody knew that their aunt was a hysterical and crazy person, and that she bullied Sashi-kun and Sadako-chan. Everybody knew everything. Everybody in our class knew it too. Mi-chan, the future head of the three families, knew it. Riki-chan knew it, and Sadako-chan knew it too, of course, because she was the one experiencing it. The friends you're talking about knew what Sashi-kun was going through more than anybody in Hinamizawa. And what happened? Did anybody help Satoshi-kun? No. Nobody did. Mi-chan had the most influence out of all of us, but she made up a lame excuse saying that it might create a conflict between the Senazaki family and the villagers. In the end, all she did was hurting him by offering her sympathy.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Sadako knew it too. He knew that you were only pretending to sympathize with him. He knew that he had no intention to help him. That's why Sadako started to hate you, Mi-chan. He said that you always told him you were his friend, but after all that, you turned out to be just another Sonozaki, just another person who bullied the Hojo family.
I didn't mean to.
You didn't do anything to help him. You rejected his request for help by sympathizing with him. Do you have any idea how much that hurt?
Yan tried to find something to say, but failed to do so. She bit her lip instead.
Rika-chan, you were the same too.
Now Rena was pointing fingers at Rika-chan. Unlike Mion, Rika-chan looked emotionless and empty just like Rena did.
Rika-chan, you don't have the kind of power in Hanamazao that Mi-chan does, but your word carries a lot of weight with the old people who come to your shrine, don't they? There was something you could have done for him, but you didn't. Rika-chan, you did exactly the same thing as Mi-chan did. You just pretended to be his friend. All you did was sympathize with him and Sadako-chan. You didn't try to help them out of the trouble they were in. Can you imagine how cruel and merciless your sympathy was to them? Sadako-kun wanted help. He wanted somebody to help him. He was at a dead end and couldn't get out of there by himself. He was sinking all the way down to his neck in a swamp, reaching for help and waiting for someone to grab his hand. You're right.
Rika-chan's voice sounded mature. It was very different from how she usually sounded.
I didn't know how to save them. All I could do was to offer them some consolation. I am not going to deny it, nor am I going to make excuses for my sin of not trying hard enough to find a way to save them. I didn't know you knew.
Rena gave her a twisted smile. That ugliness caused me to look away.
And Sadako-chan, I don't know if you'll believe me when I say this, but you're weighed down with sin too.
I didn't understand why she was blaming Sadako. I tried to take her side, but I gasped in surprise when I looked at her. She looked like she was accepting the sin that Rena had mentioned. Sadako must have wanted to confess her sin before Rena pointed it out to her. And so Sadako opened her mouth first.
I don't know if you'll believe me when I tell you this either, but I realized it on my own. I know what my sin is.
I see.
I realized it on the night that Nini disappeared. I wish I'd realized it while he was still here.
I understand how you feel. A sense that it was too late for regrets, right? I feel the same way. It happened to me before. That's why I fought this time. Sadako-chan, I'm sure you can atone for your guilt in the future because you realize what you did.
But that won't bring Nini back. He's not coming back.
Sadako looked down sadly. Usually Sadako would say the opposite. She always said that Sadashi was coming back one day without a doubt. But now she accepted the fact he would never return. She accepted it easily as if she knew it already because he's her brother.
Do you understand now?
She asked me all of a sudden.
That's how they were in 1982. Sadashi-kun talked to everybody he thought could help him. He told them that he needed help. He told them what he was going through. He consulted with them. He even came to me, even though I had just moved here at the time. I don't think it was embarrassing or shameful that he did that. People get desperate when they're unhappy. Sadashi-kun tried very hard, but he couldn't do anything about the situation. He asked for help. He kept asking for help. You said the friends are always on your side no matter what, but this is what friends really are. They're actually just people you hang around with for fun. They don't help you when you need them. Friends are always like that. That's why I decided not to tell anybody. When I found out that I was in the same situation as Sadashi-kun, I knew that nobody would help me and that nobody could. I didn't need sympathy. It only makes me feel worse. It's better that I at least had fun at school. In fact, I did have fun at school. I was very happy. I was able to forget about the trouble I had with that woman, even if only for a short amount of time at school. I wish Sadashi-kun could have done that too. If he did, he wouldn't have had to feel constantly hopeless, and he could have at least enjoyed his time at school. He didn't have any other choice than beating his aunt to death anyway. I didn't know how to help him that time because I just moved here. All I could do was to listen to him, and try to make him feel better. But there might have been something more I could have done. I might have been lazy and think about what I could do, but that time in 1982, I thought I was his friend.
Holy crap, it's a graphic.
It's a CG.
Oh my god.
It's the only CG in the entire game.
That's terrifying.
Rena's self-derisive laughter changed into grievous sobs. Her tears gradually wore away at our relationship of trust. Nobody will help me. Friends are just people with whom you have fun. You can't trust them. The more Rena cried, the clearer we heard her voice and her heart. Mian, Sadako, and Rika-chan looked into the distance with sad expressions on their faces. I was the only one who could say anything back to her now. I had to tell her this, and she knew it too. She just needed to hear it from someone. I braced myself to tell her something that might hurt everybody. I understand, Rena. I understand what happened in 1982. I understand that they were heartless, but Sadako also told you this. They realized their sins. They regretted what they did and didn't do, so it should be different this time. They can understand your pain and they can help you.
You weren't here last year. I'm afraid you don't know what you're talking about.
That's right. I wasn't here last year. I wish I were. If I was here last year, I would have fought for Satoshi.
You're lying!
I'm not lying! I have learned how important friends are since I moved to Hinamizo. I'll fight for my friends. If I was here last year and knew what Sadako's aunt did to her and Satoshi, I wouldn't have given Satoshi the opportunity to beat her to death. I would have done it myself. I would have done it in 1500 seconds.
Fuck yes!
I wouldn't have even hesitated. I would have beaten her to death with a metal bat.
That's easy for you to say, but you don't know the kind of determination you need to kill another person.
Say it, do it.
I don't know that, and I don't need to know that either. You know why? Because it's an obligation to help your friends.
You don't understand, Keiichi-kun. You don't know how disgusting it is to kill a person. You can never get rid of the dirt on your hands, no matter how hard you try to justify it.
You're right. Killing a person in order to save your friends is such a short-sighted way of thinking. It might sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I think things aren't meant to go well when you take care of an evil matter by doing an evil deed. I'm proud of my conviction that I wouldn't hesitate to kill a person for the sake of my friends, but the peace I get by doing an evil deed won't last forever. We all know that by instinct. That's why we all despise evil things, I think.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
She didn't have to tell me that. I was aware I wasn't making any sense, but for some reason, I could easily imagine a world like that. He said it. He said the thing.
What thing?
I was waiting for this thing.
Ah, yes.
Let's go. Keep going. Keep going.
Jumping world.
Keep going.
Boy!
Keep going. Keep going.
A world in which I saved my precious friends by committing an evil act. The peace I seized by doing that evil deed didn't last long. It got worse. It ended in a way as terrible as the sin I committed. This was a memory that shouldn't exist. I don't know why, but I know for a fact that it happened in that world of possibility. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. For some weird reason, I couldn't prevent myself from smiling in embarrassment even in a situation like this. But you know it too, don't you, Rena? You know that you didn't want to get your hands dirty. You're crying because you wanted us to help you, but we didn't. You didn't want to be a murderer. You're lying when you claim that this was the best choice you could have made. That's why you've been crying.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
You know better than anybody if it's true or not. You've been regretting this from the beginning. Even if you were able to hide the corpses without getting caught, you could never have washed the blood off your hands. How are you gonna fool yourself into believing that you won't have to live the rest of your life bearing the burden of your sin? There's only one way to do that. You have to believe that this was the only choice. That means you have to live your life denying your friends and denying that your friends are worth asking for help. Are we worth nothing to you, Rena? Of course not. You always believed the friends exist to help each other. Your friends were immature last year. That's why they couldn't help Satoshi from his unfortunate fate. But people grow up. We don't make the same mistake twice. We don't want to regret the same thing twice. So believe me, we're your friends. We're on your side.
So, what you're saying is That I was immature too, right?
Yeah, I am. You're immature because you couldn't believe that your friends grew up, but I'm not gonna blame you for that. We didn't notice until today that you've been going through such a hard time all alone. People can communicate their feelings only by talking to others, so there was nothing we could do because we didn't talk. In that sense, it's hard to say, but we have to admit that this was meant to happen today in order to make your choice the best one for real. We finally talked about our feelings. We now know that you've been distrusting your friends since last year and that everybody regretted both what they did and didn't do, so now we finally became true friends.
Finally. But it's too late. We only notice our sins after it's too late.
That's not necessarily true. For example, as your friend, I can understand the things you've done this time.
What do you mean by that?
I understand that depriving people of their lives is an unforgivable crime, but I also understand that my friend, Rena, had no other choice but to do this. So I don't think you're filthy, and I'm not scared of you. If something like this happens again, we should talk about what we can do together. But this already happened, and I understand that, but when I say I understand, I mean to forgive you. I don't hate you for what you did. I said that to everybody this time. I said it to all my friends. I accept what Rena did. I accept that she had no other choice than to do this, and that this was her last resort after thinking it through many times, so I'm going to side with her.
Kei-chan,
Of course, if she killed them for money or some other stupid reason, I'd drag her to the police.
She a dumbass that time.
But that wasn't why Rena did this. She couldn't run away, and she thought it through before she came to this point. If she's guilty of anything, she's only guilty for not talking to us about it beforehand, but I forgive her for that too. I forgive her for coming to this point.
Keiichi.
So, I beg you all, please forgive me for not noticing Rena's situation, for letting her go through it alone. My sin is that I allowed a day like today to come to pass.
Keiichi-san?
We're the only ones who know about these bags. If we keep it to ourselves, everything will be fine. Rena doesn't have to worry about a thing. Let's hide them somewhere like she planned. We'll cleanse ourselves with salt later, and that's it. Let's forgive each other for our sins, and then we'll regain our happy and peaceful days. This is it, right? Rena, this is the future you chose, right? This is the best possible choice, right?
Keiichi-kun.
I jumped on the hood of the abandoned car Rena was standing on and reached for her hands. Admit it! This is the world you wanted. This is the choice you wanted to make, but this is something that you can't choose by yourself. All of us have to reach for each other's hands so that Rena can make the choice. In other words, I can't make it happen by myself. I need everybody to reach for each other's hands. So Rena, you need to do it too. When all of us hold hands together, that's when you can go to the world that exists beyond the choice you made.
Keiichi-kun, I appreciate it, if you really mean it, but I'm not sure if that's what everybody else wants.
A little hand touched mine. It was Rika-chan. Rika-chan.
Rena, you aren't filthy. You didn't give up. You seized your fate, even though you had to dirty your hands to do it. I have no reason not to accept you.
Rika-chan's small hand was strong and she spoke eloquently.
I know how comfortable it feels to be stained by disappointment at everything in this world after getting lost in a maze of misfortune. That's why I can understand how strong you are and how hard you fought alone without giving up. I am proud of having you in my life. I agree with Keiichi. I forgive you for your sin, so please forgive me for mine too.
Rika-chan.
I'm just a little girl without any power, but I could have fought. I'll not give up on my fate. I'll fight like you did, so I ask you to accept me as your friend.
Rika-chan usually acts childish, but now she was like a totally different person. She meant every word she was saying. And then another little hand reached out to ours. Sadako. Sadako put her hand over mine and Rika-chan. She didn't say anything and looked down for a while. Rika-chan urged her to speak.
Rika and I lost both our parents. We never cried about it, however, because we have you, a family, made of friends. I want us to continue to be a family for you. It's natural to get it all out and to confess everything to your family because, well, they're your family. So I think today was a great opportunity for us. I appreciate that we had the chance to forgive each other for our sins.
Family made of friends, Sadako. I like that.
I forgive you for your sin, Rena-san. Please forgive me for mine too.
The big hand reached out for ours. It was Mion's.
Yay!
I always thought it was my job as the leader of the club to talk about the importance of friends. So I guess I'm not that good of a leader after all, huh?
Mion.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make fun of you.
Mion still smiled and scratched her head.
Rena, I'm ashamed of myself as your friend, and as the club president, for not being able to notice what you've been through. I'd like you to forgive me for that. Of course, I also forgive you for not telling us about it. You couldn't tell me because I wasn't good enough for you. I thought I was trying to be a good leader for you, but I guess I wasn't doing my job. It's my fault, so I forgive you for your sin, Rena.
Rena, now you have all our hands. We're all ready for you. It's your turn. Reach out for us. Come to us. This is the world you wanted. You have all of our hands right here for you to reach, so don't hesitate.
I'm a murderer. I'll get you guys into trouble,
Rena, we are...
Oh, come the fuck
wait.
on! Come the fuck on, Rena!
Get out, Higurashi!
Come on!
Get out of life!
Taking a point.
Rena, we are... Rika-chan, you don't need to say anything.
We're all reaching for your hand. What else do we need to say or prove? Rena, you don't need to say anything. All you need to do is reach out for us.
I think that's... Was that then Rena again? Oh, sorry, Keiichi.
I think that was Keiichi saying you don't need to say anything. This is another point. Let's take another point.
points.
We're trying to do the big emotional scene here. Oh, sweet babies.
Come on, Rena. This is real. It's not too late. You still have choices you can make, so choose. You can still make it. Come on. It's not too late to start over again. Rena slowly reached out, and her hand touched ours. She didn't hold our hands. All she needed to do was touch our hands to show us her will. Rena chose to live, to share her life with her friends rather than to refuse them for the rest of her life. I took a step closer to her and firmly grabbed her wrist. It was getting dark and some stars had appeared in the sky. We all forgave each other for our sins for the first time. And it was a little embarrassing, but Rena's tears made us cry and we just kept crying together. We stood in a circle holding each other by the shoulder and putting our heads together in the middle. We were a family made of friends. We forgave each other and we were happy together. There's a memory in the back of my mind, but it's not supposed to exist. I tried to save one of my friends in that world. In order to do that, I rejected all of my other friends. I acted recklessly alone, and I brought about the end of the world. The situation we had here is the same as the incident in that faraway world in the sense that people have been deprived of their lives in order to save one friend of mine. But other than that, it was different. We have Rena, Mion, Sadako, Rika-chan, and myself. Nobody was missing. We were going to regain them. We were going to regain those happy and peaceful days. The road to get there might be a little rough, but we'll walk it together. We all will.
Well, that was abrupt.
Holy shit.
I was expecting to go to credits, close,
I thought that was
and
gonna be the end of the
get
chapter.
out, but no, we're just still going and the
Fucking
music's
hell.
just bang.
Can I point out that I love Keiichi?
Nah.
In his
he sucks.
rambly, goofy, dumbass, friend-loving way. I promised myself I wouldn't cry at this part. I'm saving that for the end, but holy shit. Feeling feelings.
It's like, I kind of love that scene for what it stands for in the literal sense, but at the same time, that was like quite a crawl. That
I
whole
suppose so.
sequence.
It was quite slow.
Like, I don't know if doing it quicker would necessarily serve the same purpose, and that's kind of what I'm left wondering right now.
I mean, they all got their moment, right? all the club members got their moment, and we got to kind of break down.
Like that's kind of what I'm thinking is that, like, you know, a lot of the time when I come to these moments and I'm like, oh, that was really long-winded and could have been done a lot shorter. That could have been done a lot shorter.
I don't know what
know
you'd
if
cut.
it should have.
I don't think you would cut anything. I thought that was a beautiful scene.
Yeah. I don't know. Still, like, definitely some things in that, particularly Rena's monologue there, that I really liked, which are, like, so openly ironic about, you know, double negatives and, you know, her not trusting her friends despite being the one that's always vying for that the whole story.
Yes.
There's a very
irony.
Beautiful irony to that entire sequence.
I mean, it's like, this is what all the characters go through, right? They all have these moments where they... I mean, Keiichi called it out, didn't he? He said, man, there was a world where I beat some people to death with a metal bat and all that fun stuff. And there was a world where I, like, tried to protect one friend at the expense of all the others, and I caused something terrible to happen, all that fun stuff, which I confirm or deny anything, but, like, you know.
Come on.
Oh, fucking hell, Keiichi. He is the strongest boy. And I love him for that.
Yeah, I don't really know what in particular in that scene, like, isn't gelling with me, but I'm just like, I enjoyed that scene on an analytical level, but I was just sitting here the entire time like, none of this makes much sense. Which I guess was kind of the point of the whole scene, that, like, there's all of these ironies and contradictions in how we carry ourselves and how we view people around us.
I mean, it's a complex scene, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? That we've been following both Rena and Keiichi up to this point. They both want the same thing. They both, through the arcs that we followed Keiichi through and the arc that we followed Rena through, they both just want to be fucking happy. It's something that Keiichi tries to recapture in all of the arcs that he protagonists in. He says, well, something's gone wrong, but surely we can just go back. Surely I can figure out what's wrong. I can fix it. I can kill Teppei. I can figure out what's going on with Mion and Rena and why they're lying to me. I can, figure out who's taking Sadako and Rika into the murder dungeon, etc., etc. And that was like his moment to actually do that in a way that doesn't involve murder. It's kind of funny how obviously this is paired with Onokakashi. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Watching how this arc spotlights both Keiichi and Rena and, like, specifically what they want and their, like, methods of attaining happiness. Oh, God. Like, the fact that Rena says, these hands are dirty, like, even though through all of this, like, inner monologue we've had, she's like, yep, I can be happy. I can deny, the guilt. I can, deny, like, the horror of killing someone. She knows that she's done something that she can't undo. And that's very much like a theme of the whole arc. It's like coming back from things that have already been done. And we know, based on achievements and from what people have said, that we're like halfway through this arc.
Yep.
There's still plenty of room for this moment of triumph to be tarnished, right?
And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We went to the place in the mountains of Higurashi that Rena had picked for burying the bags. Carrying corpses is a scary thing to do, but it made us united more strongly because of that. Since each part of the corpse is in a separate plastic trash bag, we can tell what's inside each bag by touching it. First, we forced ourselves to laugh whenever we had to touch the bodies because we were too scared, but after a while we got used to it to the point where we could make jokes about it.
There is an excellent meme made from the anime because there's a shot of, like, all the kids pushing, like, this corpse cart.
Yeah.
And the meme is just like, good friends, like, look out for you, and the best friends help you hide the body. And it's beautiful. I love it.
Of course, all that was probably a bluff, but we all tried our best. Mion somehow had detailed knowledge of how to hide corpses, and she told me to dig the hole deeper.
Yeah.
Rika-chan helped to carry the bags. Sadako used her talent of setting traps to perfectly camouflage the place where we buried the bags.
Like, it's already dipping back into comedy at this point. It's great.
Me, I was in charge of digging the hole. Rena dug it earlier, but I made it a little deeper. After we finished all that, we walked back to the place where we parked our bicycles, and we looked back at the place where we buried the bags. It was completely unnoticeable. We'd never be able to find the place again once we left for home. That's how perfect it looked.
Oh, great. Thank you all for your hard work. We're done here. It's time to go home.
Mion said it cheerfully as if we just finished club activities or something. We had no more bags to carry, and we no longer had any burden to carry either. We got on our bicycles, but Rena was still standing there looking into the distance. Hey, Rena.
What? I'm sorry. I think I caught a cold or something. I feel feverish and dizzy and...
Oops, I caught a Hinamizawa syndrome.
Nah, she's fine.
Rena's face looked slightly red. You untouched Rena's forehead, it was actually a little warm. She had a tough day today. She had to go through so many things. She had to find a place to hide the corpses. She had to dig a hole. We caught her with the bags, we talked about our feelings, and we forgave each other.
Fuck yeah.
She must be exhausted after a day like that. Rena, you should rest well when you get home.
Yes, thank you. I will.
Rena, we forgave each other for everything, so don't blame yourself anymore, okay?
You were right about me.
What do you mean?
I couldn't fool myself. No matter how hard I tried to justify what I did, I was still scared. Look at me, I'm still shaky, even with all the help I got from you. If you hadn't found me with the corpses, if I'd taken care of this alone, I wouldn't have been able to bear the burden. I'm pretty sure I would have been crushed by the pressure.
She said all this with a bitter smile. Might take her a long time to heal from the pain, but must be 100 times shorter than the time it would have taken if she did this all alone. Rena's home was the closest from here. Rena went her way and the four of us were left behind. Mian made a suggestion.
So when are we turning her into the police? Sorry,
What?
I think we should just forget about today.
Oh.
What do you think?
That's like a familiar phrase.
I agree. I think it would be best for Rena-san too.
Rena is a strong girl. If we act like nothing happened, she'll act that way too.
If you keep acting for long enough, it becomes real, right?
Is that how this works? Are we
Yeah.
actually Japanese girls now?
That makes sense to me. We're Japanese girls. I've become Rena. I'm okay. I'm
I
okay
wanted.
with this. This is
isn't
exactly
what
what
I
I wanted. I'm going on to town. I'm gonna buy all the cute
no.
things. I'm gonna break into some mafioso's house
If I
and
was
steal all
gonna
their
be any
stuff.
Japanese girl,
Yeah,
I would
boy.
at least like to have been like really husky Russian.
Wait, which anime girl is that? What? Which girl? Husky Russian?
Like,
Who-
I'm not even. You don't deserve to have
Oh!
that explained to you.
Oh, I'm
How
sorry.
dare you?
I know what you're
How
talking about.
dare you?
It's sorry. I'm so caught up in the moment. I apologize.
Be able to forget by not talking about it. Our goal is to forget about it completely.
I'll never apologize again. Just
Never
that
think
one
about
thing.
pink elephant spen.
God. I think we'll keep wondering whether or not the day of reckoning will come for the rest of our lives.
You're probably correct. It's not going to be so easy to simply let it go.
Even if I can't forget about it for the rest of my life, that's fine by me. The most important thing is to keep it in my heart forever.
The most important thing is we don't make her think about it.
We nodded in agreement, just as my house came into view. Well, this is goodbye. See you at school, just like always.
Just like always.
I'll set a perfect trap for you just like always.
Goodbye, Kei-chan.
I think you took Rika's line.
That's fine. Rika
Sweet
doesn't
baby
need a line
Rika.
anyway.
She loves her lines, so she
That's
gets to
alright.
talk about how cute things are, but how she loves everybody. And,
That's
and now I've bye, Rana, bye. After I parted with them, I still felt hot and a little dizzy. It felt really weird. I was even staggering to the front door.
Well, I just wanted to stop and take this moment before we get too
why?
far.
I'm enjoying
We've
this
had
moment
one
of
person
goodness.
die, another person die, which
Yeah.
means that according to
no one
Watanegashi and
disappeared.
Miyakashi
This
math,
isn't
we
what
need two people to disappear.
This isn't the Warden Nagashi though. This is
Well,
this is
that's
pretty
too bad.
This is the warm up.
Well, then we still need a person to die and disappear. So
is
who's
true.
it gonna be?
I don't know. It could be anyone.
it gonna be?
Definitely not.
I
Definitely
want
not.
Rena to disappear and Keiichi to die.
No, that won't happen. They're too good. They've done
That's
too many
what I
good
want
things.
to happen.
Nothing can go wrong.
Everything can go wrong.
No, it's not true. Except for staggering to the front door, which is what Rena's doing right now.
Yeah.
I felt as if I was floating in the air, like I just took some very strong cold medicine.
It sounds like you're overdosing on your cold medicine.
That sounds fine. Today, something very shocking, something that made me super happy, and something very embarrassing happened to me.
Okay, let's work these. So the murder made her happy.
Yes. Keiichi touching her forehead made her embarrassed. Done! Yes! Okay. Yes!
And then what was the shocking thing?
I mean, being found out?
No, that's too obvious. It's a mystery.
I don't know, dude. You figure something out.
Keiichi probably forgot his belt and his pants got lost along the way.
She saw his first seal? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Oh, that's very lewd.
It is very lewd.
I'm all a bother now. I felt as if my heart and mind were about to explode because they were filled to the brim with both happiness and sadness. I don't know whether I made a crucial mistake today or if I had the happiest day of my life. I don't know which it is, and all I could do was to stare blankly into space. I felt frustrated too. Even though they were my friends, I was caught on the act of abandoning the corpses. But at the same time, I felt relieved that my reliable friends accepted what I did. Those emotions were all mixed up in my heart, and they were equally strong, making it difficult for me to decide what I was feeling. I was losing my sense of balance. It was like the world was warping around me. I heard sounds as if I was in a shower. Everything left me with a feeling of unreality. When those emotions were about to make me lose control, I felt a heat on my wrist. The part where Keiichi-kun grabbed me earlier started throbbing. My feelings weren't cooperating with me, but the heat of my wrist calmed them down for me. I don't know how to express what I felt when my friends and I held shoulders together in a circle earlier, but the feeling was the only thing I knew to be real. I'm home! Huh? As soon as I opened the door, I smelled it. It smelled really good. My father isn't good at cooking, but he likes trying to cook creative dishes. I remember he used to cook something very challenging whenever he was in a good mood. So this smell was a sign that he felt that way. That's why I always like this smell. The reason he's in a good mood is because he found a job. And not just in a job, he found a job within a company created by friends from his old workplace. They remembered my father and promised to hire him. He told me that some of his other colleagues from the old company are also working there. It must be very encouraging for him to work with people he knows because he hasn't worked for a long time. The dinner looked great in contrast to how it tasted. It was a dinner to celebrate his new life, to show his determination, to regain his bond with his daughter, and to make a clean start. I talked about a lot of things to my father that night. Not murder. It had been a long time since the last time I talked with him like this. I don't remember when it was, but it reminded me of the days I was still happy. Which meant I'd finally return to that time. My father still believes that Tepe is coming back one day, so he's still very cautious about locking the doors and windows, and he gets scared every time somebody rings the doorbell. I told him so many times that they never come back, but I couldn't convince him because I couldn't tell him the reason why they won't. He'll eventually realize that he's free. I'm sure it won't take too long. My heart was full of many emotions that day. If emotion could actually burst the heart open, it might happen to me. My brain must have been overworked because so many things happened at once. My head was still fuzzy, but I managed to crawl into bed. I felt like the ground was moving. I totally lost my sense of reality. I remember that I once felt like this when I got the flu. I might get a high fever tomorrow. But I don't care. I don't care if I get sick tomorrow. I just wanted to enjoy the fact that I took a step towards the future of my decision. Keiichi-kun told me something like that today. The high fever and the dizziness made me feel frustrated for some reason. But whenever I felt frustrated, I felt the heat on my wrist too. I grabbed my wrist with my left hand tightly. It made the frustration go away, and it brought me relief. Even the dizziness I didn't like just before made me feel like I was in a downfilled futon. I was falling asleep in that downfilled futon on my first night in a new world. This dizziness didn't go away for a few days, but I gradually got used to it. This new world looked like the world I used to live in before, but sunshine was a little bit brighter and Keiichi-kun's smile looked a little bit more gentle than before. We made more noise than we used to. We spent every day slowly but in high spirits. What an idiot I am. I underestimated that distance and I caught a summer cold in June. I want to get better as soon as possible. I should have taken a day off from club activities, but I forced myself to play with them every day, and that made it hard for me to get better.
And then you're gonna get everyone else sick.
And now everybody's sick together! And you can have a sick party!
No, it's rubbish. Don't do that to your friends.
I finally learned my lesson recently. I don't need to feel frustrated. There's no limit to happiness in this world. As long as we keep wishing for it, it'll continue forever. I don't need to feel frustrated anymore because tomorrow, I will have the happiness that I have today.
That's rather presumptive of you.
Oh, God. What a fucking statement. We'll have the Walton Action Festival next Sunday. Mi-chan tells us that we'll have a lot of fun and that we'll go extra crazy.
Pause for effect.
Nothing will go wrong. No pauses. No pauses. No ominous pauses. I really can't wait.
Well, there we go. We've done it. We survived a whole corpse burying without Oishi showing up, and I'm disappointed.
Maybe he'll be here later. I promise you at least some Oishi. Oishi will not be neglected by this arc.
Oh, well.
We have new tips!
Let's go to the tip. Notice
Yay!
from the Forestry Service.
The Forestry Service.
I hope this
what
is
are they here
exactly
for?
what I want it to be.
Oh, you're crying right now. Not quite.
Nah.
Shush you. You don't cry at anything. You
I
can't,
don't cry at
You can't
anything.
physically cry, but I got very close.
No, well, listen, I'm not going to make this point again.
Yes.
I won't have this
I
slander.
don't think you've said it in Higurashi yet, so you have
Yes,
to make
I
it.
have.
I don't believe you. Make it anyway.
No.
Oh, so you're not going to make it?
No, I'm not going to make it. The audience knows if they know.
All right, fine, fair enough. Leave it in the comments. What do we know? What do you know, audience?
What do you know? Even
what do
if
you
it's
know?
Nothing to do with this point. Just tell us what you know.
Tell us what you know.
What scientific fact did you find out this week?
Why scientific? What about like an art fact or
Well,
like a fact about Ryukashi or cicadas?
Is art
Formula
not a science unto itself?
No, Formula One racing
Is
cars.
science not an art unto
Just
itself?
tell us something that you learned
just
today.
tell us anything that you know.
Anything that you know, even about us. What did you learn about us today?
Oh, God.
The video was meta.
Don't Google me too hard.
It would be very easy to find you. Okay, Forestry Service Man.
Yes.
Woo! It's still June, yet the air is filled with the cries of cicadas. How is everyone in Hinamizawa doing? The Watanashi Festival is coming just around the corner. We staff members from the Forestry Service are going to perform a wood sculpting demonstration at the festival. We'll be happy to lend out our tools and teach your kids how to sculpt wood themselves. It's perfectly safe. It'll be an excellent memorial gift. Also, we would like to inform everyone that we're going to cut down a bunch of trees in local hills this summer as part of the number blank fourth forest landscape management projects. This project involves preserving the beauty of the forest by cutting down those beautiful trees and planting new ones. The Forestry Service needs volunteers who are interested in helping us cut down the old trees. You can enjoy the beautiful nature under the blue sky while helping out with this preservation activity of cutting down beautiful 1,000-year-old trees. The project will begin during summer break so you can bring your kids to the Psychopaths. This will be a good opportunity for your kids to learn about nature and have a valuable experience. Locations of the project are the forests in the Takatsudo and Yaguchi areas.
I mean,
That's weird. What's the tribe doing there?
that was pretty obvious from the name of the tip alone. I'm just interested to see what consequences are going to come out of them digging up the corpses.
I guess we'll find out.
Or if the corpses are not going to be there, because that's more interesting. Because honestly, let's be real. If they dig up the corpses of two known fucking criminals who have clearly gotten way too neck deep into the goddamn Yakuza, are they really going to investigate it to the point where the kids are going to get in trouble? I think not.
We'll see.
I mean, not.
Mion's like with the Yakuza. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
What if Mion gets in trouble? Then what do we do?
Fine. That's fine.
Wow. Do you not care about Mion?
I mean, no.
Whoa!
I don't really care about any of them getting in trouble. I just think that it's implausible.
Wow, that's
I just think that Rena should get the credit she deserves for the perfect crime.
You know what? I don't. That's true. You know what? I'm on your side now. I was about to like insult you and be like, I'm better than you, but no, we're on the same page.
Good.
Rena's crime is perfect, and her friends only made it better, so it's beyond perfect.
Exactly.
It's Ren perfect.
The only reason that this crime
Preneffect.
will ever come to light is
Perfect.
Keiichi's face.
Perfrenet. Next time.
Next time.